All right, family, thanks for joining another episode of Black Gay Table Talk. I'm your host, Keenan, and for today's episode, we have the treat of welcoming LJ Ugarte. LJ is an award-winning filmmaker. He is a songwriter, singer. He's done a lot in the entertainment industry, not to mention the fact that he brought us Firecreek Entertainment. LJ, how are you?
I'm fantastic, and you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for joining us. I know life is busy, so I have to start out by saying thank you.
No, thank you for having me. I'm a
Of
fan.
course.
I am a fan.
Really?
I've been keeping up with you guys. Oh yeah, oh
Yay.
yeah. Get the best content in YouTube. So I've seen. Yeah.
That's cool. That is cool. And you've brought some stuff too. I want to ask you a few questions later on about Into the Looking Glass and another one. So, yes, we'll get to it.
Oh, I got some tea about Into the Looking Glass. I think you are you ready for
I'm ready. We are ready.
that?
Okay. So, starting out, who is LJ? Tell us who you are and what's your background.
Well, I am. Name is Louis John Ugarte. That's where LJ comes from. Originally born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. And I pretty much was captivated from performing at an early age. I must have been like maybe 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that right there fueled it. Watching Emmanuel Lewis and Webster on TV and watching Different Strokes and all these shows growing up. And then as I got older, my sister took me to Radio City Music Hall and I saw a production of Wizard of Oz live, seeing those
Yeah.
shows live and then think I was haunted of the sound of the applause. And at an early age, 9 at that point,
Hmm.
looking around and looking at their faces, and they were so happy, like happy to see these performers. And I was like, I
Yeah.
want to see how that lady right there is so happy. I want to make people like that happy. That's
Yeah.
where it originated from.
Wow.
And I'm
Wow.
pretty much behind that. I'm just a simple guy. I love doing simple things, being home in pajamas, messy hair, and don't care. You know, watching TV and just being under the blanket like this, watching some old
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger movies or something. That's who I
Oh,
am.
I love it. I'm a Freddie fan too.
Oh, nice.
Always. Always.
Mr. Robert is a wonderful guy. The actual
Yeah.
guy who played Freddy's, he's a dear.
Yes. So, what are your favorite types of movies to watch?
I like classics. I like a lot of old classics, like the Joan Crawford movies and the old Betty Davis movies, and I like Gone with the Wind, and I like The Book. As you can see in my background, those are Blu-ray DVDs, 5,000 plus DVDs.
I
It's a
love it.
it's addiction. Um, I love biographies. I love dramas, biopics.
Hmm.
Those are the type of movies that I like.
Got it. Got it. So, Fire Creek Entertainment.
Mhm.
I know it's 18 years old now, so
Yes, it is. It is.
kudos to you. I
Thank you.
mean, you founded it in '06. So what
Yeah,
pushed you
yeah.
to go ahead and start, or what's the journey?
Fire Creek Entertainment, I could say how it started. My baby started with nothing more than a black suitcase. This beautiful black suitcase. All it had was a broken down light that I bought at the Salvation Army. It had a slate, the one of the movie slates that I bought at Universal Studios as a souvenir.
Uh-huh.
Dollar store makeup and maybe a steamer in there. And that was what I used to call Fire Creek Entertainment.
I
And
love it.
I used to carry this suitcase everywhere I go to auditions to try to find jobs, and I didn't even have a car then. I didn't own properties then. Carry it everywhere I go, literally paving, walking the streets with this suitcase looking for a job. And then one day, I got an audition for an independent film. I brought that suitcase with me. And I remember walking maybe 2 miles we have a commuter rail in South Florida here called Trial Rail.
Hmm.
And this is before, big time. I was walking to catch this train and I
Yeah.
was running a little late, but I was determined to get to Miami from West Palm Beach to Miami on the commuter rail.
Hmm.
I felt like the forces were holding me back. Like it didn't want me to go to the audition. I remember praying to God, I'm like, God, just give me this one. Just give me this one. Just open
Mm-hmm.
up the path for me to get there safely. Just open it, please. And I remember, oh, it's like straight out of a movie. The wheel got stuck on the railroad track.
Oh wow.
And I'm pulling it. And I'm like, God, please don't do this to me now. I just want to go to the audition and let me just give them what I got so I can just go home. They're going to tell me no anyway. So let me go. And I remember instantly the thing, it was just like, I'm like, oh my God, what if a train comes? I'm like, I can't leave my Fire Creek
Right.
suitcase. I remember yanking the suitcase and the wheel broke off and I fell and slipped, fell and I sliced my knee. And then at that instant moment, it started to rain. And I was like, this has got to be a sign. Should I go home and be like, but I can't. I came this far. Me and my
Right.
beat up suitcase holding this. I made it to the train, wiped my tears, got myself together because the commuter rail had a bathroom. And I remember going like this and I started praying, like, just let me get this. Let me just go. Let me just make it to Miami safely. If this is a sign that I don't need to be there, just,
Yeah.
whatever. Got to Miami, did the audition. I nailed it. I got the job.
That's
So
why I'm sitting here smiling. It's always like that when something fantastic is about to happen. So I'm sorry.
and then at that moment I knew that I served a purpose. And then I was like, you know what? I didn't know business at that time. So I was like, you know what? I told the director to I'm like, I'm a production company. I didn't have it then. I didn't have a license, the trademarks, the corporate, the warehouse, the whole shebang a production company
Right.
has. I just told them and they allowed me to contribute to the production. And I earned my first credit as a producer at that time. You know what I mean? 'Cause I
Yes.
literally was showing them my Suki, look, I have this. I remember. I was like, I have this.
I love
And
that.
now moving forward, Fire Creek is an Emmy Award winning production company. Mind you, it's a multi award winning production company. We have a warehouse, storage, we have a production van, we have, little things like production. I
Right.
have
Right.
the lights galore, honey. It was like we got lights to make you look young. 18 years ago, I couldn't even afford to catch a train, you know what I mean? And I
Yes.
remember earning it, paying for it, working my ass off to get there. And I still, to this very day, if I feel that I have any type of ego, I tell you what, I'm gonna show you this scar. I'm gonna lift my leg up for you. This little scar right here is a constant
I see
reminder to
it.
stay humbled. Because every time
Wow.
I feel like I'm feeling myself, I'm like, ooh, I'm feeling myself today. That knee starts to throb. And that's like God's way of telling you, better humble yourself, boy. Because remember that
Humble
train ride
yourself.
you almost missed? That beat up suitcase?
Wow.
That's what Fire Creek is. And to this very day, I have that suitcase proudly on display in my office.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look, we can end the interview now. You just spoke to everybody. Like,
That beautiful
I
black
love it. How
suitcase, dusty as it
inspirational.
was then, I still
And
have it.
you know what? Faith the size of a mustard seed. Like looking back over your journey, now you have all those things that you were thinking would hold you back in that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
But I'm a believer that when it's time,
Yeah.
people will be positioned where they need to be positioned to help
Yes.
you get to that next step,
Yeah.
regardless of what you have coming into it. All you have to do is show up, you know? How
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah, and that's what Fire Creek is. And the whole premise of me starting Fire Creek legitimately was to give the underdog the benefit of the doubt. Because there's lots of
Mm.
there's little there's up and comers that are
Mhm.
not giving an opportunity to be great. You know what I mean? It's always corporate.
True.
That's what Fire Creek Entertainment is. I've worked with actors that are on these hot shows, Chicago Fire. I'm watching, I feel like these are like my kids. I've seen them work with us and now they're grown and they pay
Yeah.
honor to us and be like, Fire Creek Entertainment gave us letters of recommendation. Now I'm on NBC. You know what I mean? And
Wow.
I think I'm still that guy. I will always be that guy with a black suitcase walking, trying to catch a train. I'm still him. I will always be him. And, and hopefully I'm going to continue to grow the company because I would like to buy land and build my own Tyler Perry-esque studio, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
And,
I love it.
you know,
I'm not gonna get emotional. Okay.
Yeah,
When-
I try not to because I when I tell that story, it's just the journey was not easy. You know what I mean? Getting rained
yeah,
on, almost getting run over by a train, and
yeah,
people says you are a survivor. I'm like, yeah, I survived many obstacles, even abuse. I'm an abuse survivor. So,
mm,
but I'm not a victim. Never was.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. How do you feel that those experiences have shaped how you make decisions regarding your business?
Um, when it comes to making my business decision, I approach everything with an open heart, and I also approach it um, having communication, listen to people's point of views and people's perspective of things, and
Mm-hmm,
find a common ground. And that's
mm-hmm,
something that I've learned over the years. Communication is key. Having mutual respect for your fellow human being,
mm-hmm,
and always know that you're not always going to agree on things. You can always agree to disagree, but just make sure that you stay right here because it can't
mm-hmm.
always, like a relationship, a marriage. Everybody say, oh, it should always be 50-50. No, that's not true. It should
Come
be
on now.
50-40. I might not have it today, but oh, my hubby might have it today.
Yeah.
It's going to be like this. But guess what? At the end of the day, we're always going to be here. And
Yes.
regardless if you're here or if you're down here, guess what? It's going to be here at the end of the day. That's how I approach business with
I love
my
that.
company and merging with other companies because that's what we do. We merge with other corporations and we do it with
Mm-hmm.
an open heart.
I got it. I love that. I don't want to ask you what your most successful project was, but well, first let me ask you, what was it
Oh,
like when
please.
you realized you learned or you realized you earned the Emmy?
I didn't even know I won it. I didn't even know half the awards that I received. There, half, half the awards that I've received, I didn't even realize. I didn't even know I won them because I know first of all I was doing COVID, so there was no fanfare. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that any of my films were even gaining recognition, and it happened during COVID because people
Mm-hmm.
people started saying, "I didn't know that you produce films." I'm like, I've been doing it 25 years. Wow, it
Yeah.
took COVID for people to realize I was an actor. um, it and I don't think I still realize it. I think that's why it's so hard for me to answer. But I guess you could say maybe 3 years ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
when people realize that wow, you've been doing this. I'm like, I've been working behind the scenes, you know.
It shows that even now you're still processing and it might still be kind of surreal for you. So,
It is every job that I take on is as if I never worked before. Every new job that
mm,
I received as an
mhm,
individual, I always approach it as I never worked before because I always have that fear I might get fired. I don't want to get fired. You know, I just signed a contract to do another movie. I'm like, what do I do? If
right.
it's like I've
Oh,
never done this before, but I've done it a million times.
oh, I
So
can tell you were meant to do this. I see how your eyes light up when you talk
uh,
about work and I love
it
that.
it
You're,
saved me.
you're
It saved my
mhm,
life. It really did. It saved my life, and I was able to take parlay it to saving others. Because this has never been about me. Never. This whole with Fire Creek was never about me. When I do comedies and whatever is my work is not about me. If I can
mhm,
make you laugh and I could put a smile in your face, it could be just one person. I did my job, and I could. I'm okay with that
mhm,
because I don't chase clout. I've never been a clout chaser.
mhm,
Um, I've never been a compliment, a person that has to receive compliments to move forward. I've never been that guy. I take everything with a grain of salt, and I'm very humbled and grateful for whatever opportunities I get. It could be anything. I'm
mhm.
appreciative of that, and will always be appreciative there. I'm breathing. I'm here. I'm surrounded by
Yeah.
positivity, and I'm okay with that.
Yes. And think about all the people you're able to help along your journey. That's
That's the whole
Amazing.
plan. Yeah, the whole plan.
Yeah. So, okay, your most successful project.
It was the Gornos, and I'm going to tell you why. The
Born
Gornos, to me, was high rank, high budget. It was shot on location in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That was one of my very first jobs that I got to fly out. They flew me out and put me up in by Carnegie Mellon University,
hmm
and I got to work with actors, producer. The biggest highlight for me was, of course, we mentioned Freddy Krueger. I admire those films as a little boy. 20 years later, I'm one of the head producers of the Gordo starring Ken Sagoes from A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Wow.
And he's in
Wow.
it. And we're friends now. He's a dear friend of mine. He's the one that helped me get that job. Because he go, LJ, I'm finna introduce you to my nephew. He producing a movie called The Gornos. He's a black guy from Freddy Krueger. He go, and I think you got great potential. And I'm looking like, yeah, whatever. You're an imposter. I don't believe it's you. When we FaceTime, I'm like, oh my God, you're that guy from Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4, you know? And he helped me get that job, and he saw something in me, I guess, that I didn't see in me. And the rest is history. I got to work with my idols, and I got to go to the premiere in Hollywood, go to in Los Angeles. Walking into Raleigh, Raleigh Studios is right across from Paramount Studios. I remember, I'm like, I got this. I'm walking into this big movie studio. It's Hollywood, all the idols of the old golden age of Hollywood. And in my mind, I think it started getting to me because I saw the Soundstage 6 where they filmed like these movies that I watched over. They
Yes.
filmed this movie here. And then when I saw Loretta Devine walking into my screening, and I saw Lisa Wilcox, and I saw these people that I've watched. I forgot her name. She was on Friday. Hey girl, how you
Yeah.
doing? Fine. That actress.
Yes.
She
Yes.
walked in, or Ken Sagos' friends. It hit me. I went behind a trailer. They had dozens of production trailers. I needed to
Mhm.
find a place to be alone. And I found the littlest corner between two trailers, and I hid right there because I was frightened, and I burst into tears
Oh.
because I was afraid. And then I burst into tears, and I'm like this. And instantly, this lady opens up the trailer and goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, oh, I can't even have a moment to cry by myself. And the lady was
Right.
like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, I'm LJ, and my movie is that movie, The Gornos, is right there. And she was, "Wow, congratulations!" I'm like, "Thanks." Then I called my mother. My mom was still alive at the time. Call my mom. I go, "I don't know what to do, mommy. I'm scared, and then you're not here, and then I'm in Los Angeles, and da da da." She goes, "Okay, take two deep breaths and remember who you are. Go in there and you worked hard. Now go in there, smile, take a picture, and watch a movie in the theater." I was like, I can't. I was scared to death. I was frightened,
Oh.
and then I walked into the cinema. I turned, and I was like, it's time to be him. So I went from
hmm
little Louis. I went from little Louis, the 10-year-old, to all of a sudden LJ Ugarte, the actor, producer
Wow.
of the Gornos. I think of that, and I still get choked up thinking about it because I'm still that guy that would huddle behind anything to find a little corner somewhere just so I could have that moment to remember
Yeah.
me, to remember that boy. I got to remember
Yeah.
Louis, and that's one of my biggest successes. That one.
Wow. Wow.
Oh yeah, I was shaking. Then once I got in that red carpet, it was like, "Hey, Mr. Vine, nice to meet you. I loved you in Dreamgirls." It's like, holy shit.
you, you had to tap in and let that other entity take over in that
I
moment
sure
almost.
did. Oh, I'm telling you that.
I love it.
That was one of them.
So
Yeah.
how do you approach your creative process? Do you have like this ritual, or I guess ritual is an okay word, that you
Um,
go through, or what do you do?
to prepare for like a picture, a film.
Or when you're about to create something, or like because you write as well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I do. I do. Just look. I just kind of tackle in the things that I like, the things that I
hmm
want to see made. Um, right now, I'm pretty big on trying to bring biopics to life. I want, so I try to look into things like that, reading books, having my own moment to be by myself, and tapping into what people like myself want to see made. That's part
Mm,
of the process. I would like
mm-hmm.
to see the Phyllis Hyman story get made. I want to see the Donna
Mm,
Summer biopic get made. You know, things like
yes.
that. Like as a producer's person, I'm like, these people need to call me. I would love to work on those. Things
Right.
like that. The Carmen Miranda story, you know, telling our stories, telling stories. Sylvester, the artist, the singer,
Okay.
how does it feel? I would love to produce his biopic, you know, things like that.
Wow.
And I try to tap into things like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What's a project that you have worked on that you think might have given you the most challenge creatively?
Um, there's many projects that I had that kind of was almost rough. Like the one I recently did the other day. To me, that was rough because it was
Mm-hmm.
more serious, a drama. I had to add pages of dialogue, and then I had to become serious. Usually, I like a little sass, but
Mm-hmm.
no sass, and everything needs to be word for word. That my most recent,
Mm-hmm.
last week, that was challenging. For the first time, I was being challenged, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that I needed 10 years ago.
Hmm.
And now I'm being challenged now, finally, and I'm grateful for that. I want to
Mm.
give you the details on that so bad, but I
Look, I
can't give you
want
the
to
details
ask.
of that. Yeah, of that particular one I just did. So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
So then, how do you balance work and personal? Let me ask you that one first.
Um, when it comes to work, I keep it outside, and when it comes to personal life, I keep it inside. So, of course, I've been in a relationship 8 years. No, I'm married to someone that's not in show business. Nothing to
Mm-hmm.
do with show business. Normal, everyday Joe. And that's a great thing because it keeps me balanced. You know what I mean? There's no show business here. Even though I have my office, I have an office here at the house, has all
Mm-hmm.
my, the show business stuff here. But I know
Mm-hmm.
that this is not everything that I am.
Got it.
So at the end of the day, once I'm home from work, the door is closed, shut it all off, come back down, wash those dishes, vacuum that floor, shake those shake those pillows and get, that's me. But when it's
Mm.
time for me to become him, I always say it's time to be him. It's time to be him. It's time to dazzle. Go out into the world and you're ready to conquer the world. Once it's a wrap, you're home.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Mm-hmm.
something that I do.
That you, yeah, you keep going. So
Hmm.
you said you've been married 8 years, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
how'd you meet?
Golly, how the heck, dude? I end up with him. Um,
How'd you get hooked?
Golly, it must have been when worked at a Comcast, I think was it. I used to go in there, act like my boxers broke, because I was like that little half breed. You kind of cute.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go in there with like, can I fix my thingy? And I could talk your ear off. And I think that's when it started.
Really? I
Yeah.
love it.
I used to go in there acting like at the time I don't even have cable anymore. My cable box broke. Hey, nothing wrong with that cable box. I was just trying to get a conversation.
Yeah.
So it was like hook.
So, uh-huh, put it on
Yeah,
in. So, I mean, so you keep it balanced, right? You don't
yeah,
let work interfere with home or your
no,
relationship. But
no.
are those times where you do talk at least about some things or an idea that you may have? Do you run them by him
Oh
and
yeah,
see what
all the
they say?
time. Oh yeah, that a song lyric. Uh,
Hmm.
um, uh, Sometimes helping with the auditions when I have to do like the self tapes. Then this is just strictly just as an actor. He'll read
Hmm.
the lines for me, or he'll do the slates for Yeah, so we do does help me out a great deal when it comes to stuff like that.
Got
Come
it. I
go
love
to the set every once in a blue moon. He'll make an appearance on the set, which is kind of shocking because
it. Hmm.
he doesn't do that.
He does it to surprise you.
Whenever he has the opportunity to, yeah, which is a
That's
joy.
yeah. Oh, I
So
love
yeah.
it. So, how do you, speaking of balance,
Mhm.
how do you balance your artistic vision with commercial demand? Like, I know sometimes we'll have our vision and we'll have, that idea, and we're thinking of how we want it to end up or what the end result will be, but that commercial demand might require tweaks or changes. So, how do you make sure you don't lose the essence of LJ in what you do?
Oh, well, that's a good question. What I do is, like I said, it goes back to communication. It goes
Mm-hmm.
back to compromising. Sometimes my vision doesn't necessarily always work
Mm-hmm.
for that particular project.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll make a compromise or a sacrifice and take a mini step down and allow a shared vision. I might not always agree, but sometimes that other version turns out to be what turns out to be the best. And I
Okay.
will be more than happy to accept it. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about compromise as long as it doesn't compromise my artistic integrity, but I'm willing to make a change just for the
Okay.
sake of the art form. You know what I mean?
Okay. 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 I had to ask that because even with me, I guess with my knowledge of how
Mhm,
production works and how, the process goes, I'm
mhm,
growing, I'm learning,
mhm, mhm,
but I do see instances where I'll see people who they want this, right? But then they get into the rooms and it's, oh, well, let's change this, let's change that. And then you have the individual who's like, okay, I don't see me anywhere in it, but
mhm,
I need this check, or you know what I'm saying? I have to do it. So I promised I would ask that question to
mhm.
people who've been doing it for a while just so that
Right.
I can and our viewers can understand better too, you know?
Right. Absolutely. And editing is something that I don't tackle because being an editor, oh, that's such a creative art in its own. In its
Mhm.
own. I love watching how the editing process. I have some amazing friends that are just amazing editors. They are
Mhm.
just that's what they do, and I watch them and all, and that's something I haven't really tackled. I mean, I could do little bits, little edits on my phone, but when it comes to like what you guys do, I don't know. That's a ooh,
Yeah, and
I
then you have to
respect
watch it
it.
over and over and over
Yeah,
again.
loop the voices and God, that's an art in its own form. That's why they have their own category at awards. Best
Well,
editing,
true. True.
best sound design. Even I don't. I'm not. I mean, I have an ear for music, but when
Mhm.
it comes to boom, even though I've done boom, I've done everything on films. They gotta have a specific sound. You can't hear this. Oh, it's just an art form in itself. I
Mm.
respect everybody who's behind the scenes. They're the real
Mhm.
stars. People who work
And
behind the cameras are the stars.
because without them it would not
No,
happen,
even on the
period.
indie films, I worked on lots of indie films. I'm just now gradually moving towards mainstream now. Um,
Mhm.
but it's just I worked on films when it was just maybe four crew members. It's like, wow, it's just four of you guys. Where's the wow? Where's craft services? No, they everybody does everybody, and I learned that hustle by working on smaller films than trying to do everything yourself, and I still respect that. I
Yeah.
respect that a great deal. Now my sets, and moving forward, I have at least 25 people now, you know, and it's
Mhm.
kind of, in moving forward, I'm like, wow, that's, whew,
I'll ask, do you identify as gay,
yeah,
queer?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
So being a gay man
Hmm.
in the industry, when it comes to opportunities, do you see sometimes, and I'm sure there may be some stories, but do you see
Hmm.
sometimes that it might be harder to break through barriers that one would think wouldn't be there?
Well, I haven't had that obstacle yet because I'm a character actor,
Mhm.
and most of my I play a plethora of different characters. Like I'm Veggie Thug in Great People, and also that's another big
Mm.
success. That's
Yeah.
another great. I didn't produce it. I just acted in it. I'm Veggie Thug in that. I play a comedic thug in it with a heart of gold. I've played the imaginary friend in Great People. I've played a homeless man in one movie. I played a gangster, part of the mob in one movie. I played a police officer. I played a husband with kids. I've played gay characters. Most recently, I did a huge film in Los Angeles, which requires some nudity, and I was so for it. I was so for it to showing these butt cheeks. I was ready for that scene because I'm growing as an artist, and I'm not ashamed of that anymore. And as an artist, I'm not going to do anything that's going to compromise my art. I'm going to play roles that would be for any type of actor who's a male.
Mm,
Don't put me in a box because that's why I am an actor. Because I
right.
play parts like I'm doing playing a husband and a father. I don't know if you see my music video. I have a girlfriend, a woman,
You do.
and
Yeah.
we're embracing, and that's a performance piece.
That shower scene though. I was like, "Ugh."
I didn't have any clothes on. The director, I think that was the director's fantasy to see butt cheeks. Because I was it really necessary to be nude? I'm standing like, spin around in the air, I'm trying to be sexy. I'm like, really, it's not that necessary unless you really wanted to capture that. I'm like, I'm feeling the music through dancing, whatever. But
Yeah.
going back to what you were saying, it's different parts. So I never want a casting director to be like, "Oh, we can't cast you because you're gay." But I'm an actor. You didn't say that before when I played the husband and wife. I had
Right.
a wife. So, and I just feel that any actor, if you're talented enough, you could play any part you want
Any part. Yeah.
and stuff
I
like that.
believe that.
And if you choose to do LGBT plus films, then go for it. Absolutely go for it. And Romeo and Isabella, I was in that with I don't know if you've seen that one on Tubi, and that was more, I think that one was my first LGBT plus film.
That was your first one.
That was my very first one in the 20 years because I'm
Wow.
embracing it now. And I'm like,
Got it.
why was I in this category for so long until I decided, no, absolutely not. I'm not going to
Mm,
do that. Because this is who LJ is. LJ is this entertainer, and I'm not going to be hiding anymore. Why?
right. Why?
They didn't have a problem with it yesterday. Now, why would they have a problem today? We're in 2024. You know?
All right. All right.